Shalom. Welcome to this week's update on Israel News. There's a lot going on, and I mean a lot. We start off, as always, with Iran. And until Iran decides to no longer pursue nuclear weapons, or until there's a regime change in Iran, we're still going to always talk about Iran. And we have entered in what AIPAC leadership is now calling the decision zone. Decision zone it's a scary time for us as people that care about Israel. What the decision zone means is that Israel has been trying for years, since Iran has attempted to develop a nuclear weapon, to stop them. Whether it's through sabotage, through covert operations, through sanctions or diplomacy, Israel has tried. But they knew at a certain point, Iran's nuclear weapons and the development of nuclear weapons would get to such a stage that Israel would have to make a decision about whether to bomb or allow them to build a nuclear weapon. We're in that decision zone now. And it's a scary time, but Israeli leadership right now is deciding on whether or not to start a war with Iran. The ramifications of that war with Iran are tremendous. Whether Iran reciprocates and attacks against Israel, whether or not Israelis will be in danger, whether or not if the attacks will be successful in the first place, and whether or not Israeli bombers will be able to set back the Iranian nuclear program. We're in that decision zone now. Based on that, Leon Panetta, the Defense Secretary of the United States, the man in charge of the United States military, gave an interview last week where he said that he believes that Israel will attack, and that attack will be either in April, May, or June. That's pretty scary. That means we're about 2 or 3 months out from an all-out war between Israel and Iran. How that will look, we simply don't know. It's a scary time, and we're hoping that in these next couple of weeks, the decision does not have to be made. Diplomacy and sanctions show the Iranian regime that nuclear aspirations, weaponized nuclear aspirations, is not worth it for them to go for. At the same time, Israel and America are somewhat divided as to what that red line is when we need to attack. Israel sees that red line much earlier than America. America saying that it's at the point where they're about to develop a nuclear weapon. That's where that's where the United States will attack. Israel says it's much earlier than that. There's what's called the zone of immunity, where Iran's development will get to such a point where an attack will no longer work, and Iran will be immune to an attack because they'll have advanced so far. Israel needs to make that attack before the zone of immunity is reached. The United States sees that zone as far off. That dispute could cause tensions between the relationships between the United States and Israel Israel might just say, you know what, we've got to attack when we feel. Going on that, Israel's Vice Prime Minister Ya'alon, a military man, announced that any place that a human being can reach, Israeli attacks can stop nuclear aspirations. There's always a fear, will Israel even be successful in an attack? Will its bombers be able to reach the proper places? Ya'alon says we are confident that we're able to make that attack and make that attack successful. Iran, meantime, it was announced was building a missile that Iran already has the technology to be able to hit Israel and American interests in the Middle East, meaning American bases and American ships that are stationed in the Middle East. It turns out that Iran was developing a missile that can reach the United States with a range of 6,000 miles, which means that the attacks of a nuclear holocaust that Iran would create could well happen in Los Angeles, in Florida, in New York City, all over the United States. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, says he's gone on the threatening rage, saying that they will help any nation that attacks Israel. Iran's supreme leader has threatened Israel and the United States themselves, and Iran vows to attack any country used by the United States or Israel, meaning as flyovers or as bases to land, anything. Any country that Israel or the United States uses to bomb Iran, Iran vows to strike back. Iran is mass producing anti-ship cruise missiles, and Iran has begun military exercises. Now, just in case you sit here and you say to yourself, come on, Iran can't seriously think that they're going to be able to retaliate in such a strong way as to deter the United States or Israel from attacking, you just don't get how crazy the Iranian leaders are. Many of them think that Ayatollah Khamenei is the last mullah before the coming of their Messiah. They believe they're in Messianic times. They believe that they need the strongest of weapons to protect themselves before that Messianic era occurs. That is the mindset that they're in. It's not a Western rationalized mindset. Now, where's the rest of the world on this? Why isn't the rest of the world? Why are we only talking about the United States and Israel? Well, check out this email and you'll see another great video of a debate in Cambridge of why Britain is not involved. And you'll see the evil actions of Russia and China. And I say this in the strongest of terms because there's no way to sugarcoat this. Syrian leader Assad is killing his citizens. And how do Russia and China react? They veto the United States measure calling on Assad to resign and calling on Assad to pull his tanks back from attacking his own citizens. If that wasn't enough, Russia has just recently sold Syria 36 fighter jets to increase Assad's ability to kill innocent civilians, his own citizens. If you wonder why Russia and China aren't jumping on the bandwagon of Iranian sanctions, these are two countries that simply look at the pocketbook and are not worried about innocent lives, not worried about morality. That's where Russia and China are, and that's why we can't get the world on board, besides Europe, to sanction Iran and stop the nuclear holocaust from coming. It's getting scary. We're in that decision zone, and it doesn't seem like the last 5 years of sanctions and of diplomacy and of covert operations have in any way hindered Iran in a serious way from deciding on their own to stop the nuclear aspirations. Let's hope in our next video we're able to share better news.